The first signal. It was a quiet night at the Lunar Research Station, a lone outpost orbiting the moon. The hum of the station's machinery was the only sound breaking the stillness. Dr. Adam Wright, the lead scientist on the station, sat alone in the command center, staring at the endless stretch of stars on the large screen before him. He had worked countless hours on various projects, but tonight felt different. Something was off, though he couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. His attention was suddenly captured by a strange anomaly that appeared on his monitor. It was faint at first, a ripple in the calm expanse of space, but the longer he observed, the clearer it became. There was a signal. Something, or someone, was trying to make contact. "Jenna, come over here," Adam called to his assistant, a young astrophysicist with a sharp mind. She rushed over, a fresh cup of coffee still in her hand. When she saw the signal on the screen, her hand froze midair. "That's not a natural phenomenon," she said quietly, as if afraid to believe it. "It's too structured." Adam's fingers danced across the controls as he tried to decipher the source. "I know, but it's too precise. This could be an alien transmission." The two of them stared at the screen, a sense of urgency growing between them. The signal grew stronger, more defined, and Adam's heart began to race. Could this be the moment they had all been waiting for? The discovery of intelligent life beyond Earth. As the signal grew more powerful, Adam realized that it wasn't just a message, it was a warning. A message that had been carefully encrypted, waiting to be decoded. He had no idea what it meant yet, but one thing was clear: something big was coming. Jenna pulled out her tablet and ran a quick scan. "Dr. Wright, the signal. It's not from within the solar system. It's coming from outside, from beyond our star system. And the pattern, it looks like it's accelerating. It's heading straight for us." Adam's breath caught in his throat. "How fast is it moving?" "Too fast for anything we've seen," she said, her voice trembling with the weight of what they were discovering. "This isn't just a signal. It's a fleet." Adam's mind raced. Could humanity be ready for what was coming? Could they even stop it? His thoughts were interrupted by the sound of his phone ringing, an old secure line that hadn't been used in years. He picked up the receiver, a cold sweat forming on his brow. "This is Wright," he said, trying to steady his voice. "This is General Anderson. I've seen the signal. I know what it means. Get everyone to the war room now. We're calling in a full-scale emergency." As the line clicked off, Adam's hand shook, but he knew there was no time for fear. The fate of humanity was on the line, and the story of the Earth's final stand against an alien invasion was about to begin. "We need to prepare for the worst, Jenna," Adam said, his voice unwavering. "Get the data to the Council. It's time we told them the truth." The countdown had begun, and there was no turning back. The fleet approaches. The next few hours passed in a blur. The once peaceful silence of the Lunar Research Station had turned into a whirlwind of activity as Adam and Jenna worked feverishly to track the incoming fleet. The screen in front of Adam flickered with continuous streams of data, every number and line a piece of a puzzle they still couldn't fully understand. But one thing was clear: the ships were real, and they were coming. As they worked, Adam felt a growing unease. Despite all of humanity's advancements in space technology, there was no way they could match whatever was out there. The alien fleet wasn't just fast, it was organized, intelligent, and approaching at an alarming rate. They weren't just visitors, they were invaders, and Earth had no idea how to defend itself. "Adam, we have to report this to Earth's command," Jenna said, her voice tight with urgency as she scanned the data. "They need to know what we're up against." He nodded. "I'll make the call, but it's going to be chaotic. The Council won't believe us unless we have hard evidence." Adam's hands hovered over the controls as he initiated a direct secure line to Earth's United Defense Command. The screen flickered for a moment before a stern face appeared. General Leah Harding, the commander of Earth's defense forces, appeared on the screen, her eyes narrowing as she took in the situation. "Right," she said, her voice clipped. "I've been briefed on your discovery. What are we dealing with?" Adam exhaled slowly, knowing this conversation would change everything. "General, we've intercepted a signal from an alien fleet. At least 200 ships, possibly more. They're not just floating through space. They're coming here, and they're coming fast." General Harding's expression remained unreadable, but Adam could see her grip tighten on her desk. "And you're sure these ships are hostile?" "We don't know yet, but everything about them screams military," Adam replied. "Their speed, their coordination, the way they're maneuvering. This is no random encounter." Jenna cut in, her voice shaky but resolute. "We've also detected strange energy signatures from their ships. It's unlike anything we've seen before, but it looks like their weapons are fully charged and ready to deploy." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, General Harding spoke. "We've initiated a global alert. Prepare for the worst." "Right. I'll send reinforcements to your station, but I need you to keep tracking them. We need to know everything. How fast they're moving, their exact trajectory, any weaknesses we can exploit." Adam nodded. "Understood, General. We'll keep you updated." As the call ended, a heavy silence settled over the room. Adam turned to Jenna, who was still staring at the screen, her face pale. They had just learned that humanity was not alone in the universe, and what they were facing might be too powerful to defeat. But Adam refused to give up. Humanity had always been resilient, always found a way to overcome impossible odds. This time, though, it might take everything they had to survive. "We're not going to let them take Earth," Adam said, his voice firm. "We'll find a way to fight back. Humanity has a few tricks up its sleeve." Jenna didn't answer immediately, but the determination in her eyes matched his own. They didn't know yet how they would stop the fleet, but they weren't going down without a fight. The fleet, still millions of miles away, continued its steady march toward Earth. Adam watched the screen, his mind racing. There had to be something, some way to turn the tide. Whatever it was, they would find it. Because if they didn't, humanity's final warning would come too late. And that thought fueled his every decision as he prepared for what was to come. The Earth's response. By the time the fleet reached the asteroid belt, the world had already started to feel the weight of the approaching threat. In the span of a few short hours, panic spread across Earth as news outlets broadcasted the discovery of the alien fleet. Governments scrambled to mobilize, military forces were put on high alert, and every major city experienced the ripple effect of fear. No one was sure what the aliens wanted, but there was one undeniable fact. Humanity was facing its greatest challenge. At the Lunar Research Station, Adam and Jenna worked tirelessly, running simulations, analyzing the fleet's movements, and tracking their progress. Despite the chaos unfolding on Earth, the two of them remained focused, hoping for any breakthrough that could give humanity an edge. "We need to think bigger," Adam muttered, staring at the screen as the alien ships continued their steady course. "If we're going to survive, we need to understand more than just their technology. We need to figure out what they want and how to stop them." Jenna, deep in thought, adjusted some data on the console. "Maybe we can create a counter-strategy, but we have to be quick. Earth only has a few days to prepare, and at the rate they're moving, they'll reach Earth's orbit soon." Suddenly, the communication panel beeped. Adam glanced at it and quickly answered, a sense of urgency rising in his chest. "This is Wright. Go ahead." "Dr. Wright, this is General Harding again. We've had a global council meeting, and we're putting together a defense strategy." The general's voice crackled over the line. "You need to prepare your station for a full military engagement. We're launching everything we have, every satellite, every missile defense system, every asset in orbit. It's all going up. We've also been in contact with the global superpowers, and they're on the same page. We're ready to respond." Adam's heart sank, but he knew there was no other option. Understood, General. We'll continue to track their movements. But there's something you should know. These ships aren't just advanced. They are beyond anything we've ever imagined. Their weapon systems are far more advanced than ours. And from what we've gathered, they're not making any attempt at communication. A brief pause followed. We're aware of that. Right. We've ordered a preemptive strike. Prepare for an all-out war. We'll hold Earth's position, no matter what it takes. The line cut off, leaving Adam staring at the empty screen, his mind racing. Humanity's final defense was about to be put to the test, but what if it wasn't enough? What if the aliens weren't just invaders, they were conquerors? The question gnawed at him, but there was no time to dwell on it. Jenna, I want you to run a full analysis on their energy readings. Look for any weaknesses in their systems. We're going to need every advantage we can get. Adam ordered, already preparing for what was to come. Jenna nodded and quickly typed on the console, bringing up complex algorithms to map out the energy signatures of the alien fleet. I'm working on it. There's a chance their energy source could be vulnerable at specific frequencies, but I need more time to confirm it. Adam paced, his mind working through various scenarios. Earth's military was about to launch its best weapons at the fleet. But what if that wasn't enough? What if humanity needed more than just brute force? What if they needed a way to outsmart the invaders? Adam, Jenna said suddenly, her voice sharp with excitement. I think I've found something. There's a pattern in their energy distribution. Small fluctuations that suggest their shields could be disrupted by a specific pulse. If we can create a frequency strong enough, we could incapacitate their shields long enough to strike. Adam's pulse quickened. That's it. We'll need to get a signal out to every defense network on Earth. If we can disrupt their shields, the military can get a real shot at taking them down. Jenna's fingers flew over the console, setting up a blueprint for a frequency pulse strong enough to interfere with the alien ships. It's risky. The pulse needs to be perfectly synchronized, or it'll just bounce off. But if it works, we won't have much time. Adam interrupted, already thinking ahead. We need to get this to the right people now. Earth can't waste any more time. As they sent the coordinates and instructions to the global defense systems, a sense of resolve settled in. The aliens had underestimated humanity's ability to adapt and fight back. Adam's belief in human ingenuity was unwavering. Despite the overwhelming odds, they weren't going to go down without a fight. We're not just going to survive this, Adam said, his voice firm. We're going to make sure they regret ever coming here. The countdown was ticking down, and the Earth's final stand had begun. The unexpected counterattack. The morning sun rose over Earth, casting a pale light across the planet's surface, but the warmth it brought was little comfort. People across the world were glued to their screens, watching as the alien fleet neared, their ships like shadows growing larger against the backdrop of stars. Adam and Jenna sat in the command center, their eyes fixed on the data streaming in from every corner of the globe. The pulse frequency Jenna had devised was now in the hands of every military command on Earth, and the world held its breath. The alien fleet was only hours away from entering Earth's orbit, and every defense system was being put to the test. Satellites and interceptors were ready to fire, but there was no guarantee they would succeed. Humanity's technology, though advanced, was no match for the alien ships, which still moved with terrifying precision. We're ready, Jenna said quietly, her fingers resting over her console. All systems are in place. The pulse will go live in 5 minutes, but we need to be sure the military can act fast once the shields are down. Adam nodded. The moment their shields are vulnerable, they'll be sitting ducks. It's now or never. The tension in the room was palpable as they waited, watching as the alien fleet's ships neared Earth's atmosphere. Then, without warning, the first missile launch was detected, an early strike intended to test the alien defenses. But the alien fleet didn't react as expected. Instead of evading the missile or launching a counterattack, one of the ships in the fleet exploded in a burst of blue energy. It was unlike any explosion Adam had ever seen, and for a moment, he thought he was seeing things. "Did we do that?" Jenna gasped. Adam stared in disbelief. The alien ship had been hit, but there was no sign of an alien weapon discharge. Instead, the entire vessel seemed to simply vanish, leaving behind a lingering ripple in space, as though the ship had never been there. "No," Adam said, his voice thick with confusion. "That wasn't us. It wasn't our missile." Suddenly, the comm panel flashed, and General Harding's voice came through, strained but determined. "Right, did you see that? What the hell just happened?" "I'm not sure, General," Adam replied, his mind racing. "But I think something, just took down one of their ships." The screen in front of him flickered as more data came in. "The rest of the fleet is reacting. They're scrambling, shifting formation." Jenna looked up from her console, her eyes wide. "That's it. They're scared. Whatever just happened, it's throwing them off balance. If we can hit them with the pulse now." Adam didn't need to hear more. "Do it. Now." With a single press of a button, Jenna activated the frequency pulse. The energy rippled through the communication channels, targeting the alien fleet's shields. A series of tense seconds passed before the first signal came through. A massive ripple, and then the screens flashed red as shields across the fleet began to flicker and fail. The pulse had worked. "General, the pulse is destabilizing their shields. You've got a window," Adam said, heart pounding. On the other side of the world, Earth's military sprang into action. Interceptors fired, missiles launched, and every available defense system lit up the skies. The first wave of human weaponry tore through the gap in the fleet's shields. The aliens' counterattack came too late, and several ships were struck. But the aliens weren't retreating. They were adapting. The fleet's ships seemed to glow with a faint energy, as if they were drawing power from the very fabric of space itself. A new wave of energy pulsed outward, and the remaining ships retaliated. Plasma weapons lashed out, but this time, they didn't target Earth. They aimed at the very satellites and space stations that had been used to launch the pulse. "They're countering us with some kind of gravitational weapon," Jenna shouted, watching the data unfold. "They're manipulating space itself. If this keeps up..." Adam's mind raced. This wasn't just an invasion. It was a battle of wits. The aliens were using a technology that far surpassed anything Earth had ever known. They were fighting on a different level, one that wasn't just about strength but control. And then, as though a sign of the tides turning, a new signal appeared on Adam's screen. It was a code, encrypted, unlike anything they had seen before. It was the same strange pattern that had first appeared when the aliens arrived, but this time it was directed toward Earth. "They're communicating with us," Adam said, voice thick with disbelief. The message flashed on the screen, written in a language of symbols, a complex pattern that only one person on Earth had ever encountered before. Jenna quickly started decoding the message, her fingers flying across the keys. "It's an ultimatum. They want us to surrender or face complete annihilation." Adam turned to her, his jaw clenched. "We're not going to surrender. We have to fight. We've been fighting for our survival since the beginning." But as the message continued to scroll across the screen, something even more unnerving happened. A new ship appeared on the outer edge of the fleet, this one larger, more imposing than anything they had seen so far. It was unlike the others. It was a ship that seemed to absorb the light around it, as if it were not fully part of the universe at all. "We need to get ready," Adam said quietly. "This is just the beginning. They're not here just to conquer. They've come for something far worse." The fleet moved closer, its intentions still unclear, but Adam knew one thing for sure. Humanity's greatest trial was only just beginning. The question now was whether Earth had the strength to endure it. The hidden power. The calm before the storm had dissipated, replaced by an electric, tense anticipation. Earth's defenses were in full swing, But Adam knew that the Pulse's success was just the beginning. What humanity faced now was something more insidious than a mere military assault. It was an alien force that seemed to defy the laws of nature itself. Adam sat in the command center, his hands gripping the armrests of his chair as he stared at the screen. The alien fleet, though slightly disorganized after the Pulse disrupted their shields, was far from defeated. The newly appeared ship, the largest of them all, was now moving at the front, a hulking behemoth that seemed to absorb the light of space around it. It was as though it were bending the very fabric of space to its will. That ship, it's unlike anything we've ever seen, Jenna muttered from her console, her eyes wide with awe and fear. It's like it doesn't belong in this dimension. It's shifting in and out of phase. How is that even possible? Adam didn't have an answer. He had seen plenty of advanced technologies in his career, but nothing like this. The aliens weren't just physically advanced. They had harnessed power that twisted reality itself. The gravitational pulses they had already launched were wreaking havoc on Earth's satellites, and the fleet's weaponry had evolved, now bypassing Earth's defense systems with eerie precision. "We need a new strategy," Adam said, standing up abruptly. "The military can't keep up with this. They're evolving faster than we are. We need to know more about that ship, the one leading the charge." Jenna's fingers raced across the console, pulling up every piece of data she could find on the mysterious ship. But the results were less than reassuring. This is insane. It's not just using conventional energy sources. It's drawing from something deeper, like it's tapping into the fabric of space-time itself. Adam's mind wavered. There was a long silence between them as they processed the information. They were no longer fighting an alien invasion. They were facing an entity that could alter the very space around it. Humanity had to find a way to disrupt that power, or they would never stand a chance. Suddenly, Adam's eyes caught something on the screen. The alien ship, now closer to Earth than ever before, seemed to be pulsing in sync with the movements of the other ships. It was subtle at first, but as Adam zoomed in, it became unmistakable, a hidden pattern in the way the fleet was moving. The largest ship wasn't just leading. It was acting as a conductor, orchestrating the movements of the entire fleet. "Wait a minute," Adam muttered. "It's all connected. The other ships are following its lead. It's controlling them, like a puppet master." Jenna's face lit up with the realization. If we can cut off that ship, we can destabilize the entire fleet. Without it, the others would lose their synchronization. The plan was risky, but it was the only chance they had. Adam knew they needed more than just brute force. They needed to target the command center of the fleet. They needed to disable the source of its power. "We need to get closer," Adam said, determination in his voice. "Jenna, can you modify the Pulse to target that ship directly? If we can sever its connection with the rest of the fleet, we can disrupt their entire strategy." Jenna nodded without hesitation. "I can do that. But it won't be easy. We'll need to reroute the Pulse through a series of satellites. It'll take time, and we might not have much of it." Adam's heart pounded in his chest. Every second counted now. He glanced at the countdown timer on the screen. Less than an hour before the alien fleet would be within striking distance of Earth. They had no time to waste. "We don't have a choice," Adam said, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "Let's move fast. We need to prepare every satellite to launch this at full capacity. If this works, we'll have a window to hit them with everything we've got." As Jenna worked feverishly to adjust the Pulse frequency, Adam contacted General Harding once again, this time with a plan that was more audacious than anything humanity had attempted before. "General, we've identified the key target," Adam said, his voice unwavering. "The lead ship, the one bending space-time itself. If we can sever its control over the rest of the fleet, we'll be able to disrupt their entire system. We'll need all available firepower aimed directly at it the moment the Pulse takes effect." On the other end of the line, General Harding's voice crackled with grim determination. "I'll mobilize every available resource. Right. If this works, we'll have one shot. Make it count. Adam hung up the comm link and turned to Jenna. Ready? She glanced up at him, her eyes filled with resolve. Ready. With the final adjustments in place, Jenna initiated the pulse, sending it through Earth's satellite network. Adam held his breath, watching the energy ripple across space, a beam of concentrated force aimed directly at the alien command ship. For a few moments, there was nothing but silence. Then the screen flickered, and the pulse struck. The largest alien ship trembled, its massive form momentarily distorting, as if caught in a strange force that it couldn't fight against. The synchronization across the fleet faltered, and one by one, the ships lost their coordinated movements. For the first time since the conflict began, the invaders seemed vulnerable. Adam exhaled sharply, but there was no time for relief. The fleet wasn't done yet. This was their chance, but only if they acted now. We have seconds before they adapt, Adam said. Get ready to launch everything we've got. This is the moment. And with that, humanity's last hope was set into motion. Every weapon system on Earth aligned, prepared to strike the invaders with everything they had. This was their moment of reckoning, the beginning of the end, or the end of the beginning. Adam only hoped they had enough firepower to finish what they had started. The turning point. The pulse had worked. The lead ship of the alien fleet had faltered. Its massive form rippled in space, vulnerable for the first time. The coordinated precision that had made the alien force so terrifying was now unraveling. But the victory felt small, fleeting. Adam watched the chaotic shifts in the alien fleet, knowing that the clock was ticking. Whatever window they had gained, it was closing fast. Now, Adam shouted, his voice booming through the command center. He barely had time to think before the Earth's defense systems unleashed their full fury. Missiles streaked through the void, plasma beams burst out from orbital cannons, and the remaining fleet of interceptors launched toward the aliens in a coordinated assault. The overwhelming barrage of human firepower hit the alien fleet with a vengeance. But it wasn't enough. The alien ships were adapting at an astonishing rate. Shields reappeared, and the space around the lead ship shimmered with a strange distortion, almost as if the fabric of space was warping to protect them. How are they doing that? Jenna shouted, her fingers frantic on the keyboard. We should have overwhelmed them by now. This is impossible. Adam's jaw tightened. They're adapting too quickly. They must be evolving their defenses. It's not just technology anymore. It's almost like they're anticipating our moves. He was right. The alien ships weren't just reacting. They were countering, using something more profound than just advanced weaponry. Their shields pulsed and shifted like living organisms, flowing and reshaping to absorb every human strike. A new kind of intelligence, far beyond Earth's understanding, was now in play. The remaining ships fired back with brutal force. Earth's defense systems, already stretched thin, took direct hits. Satellites and orbital weapons systems were being destroyed at a terrifying rate. Adam watched helplessly as their forces were decimated, one by one. General Harding, what's the status on the reinforcements? Adam asked, his voice tight. There was a moment of crackling silence on the comms before the general responded. We're deploying every reserve we have, but they're moving faster than anticipated. The aliens are advancing. Our defenses are being overwhelmed. We need a new plan. Right. Adam didn't respond immediately. His mind raced, trying to think of a way forward, a way to turn the tide. The pulse had disrupted their shields, but that wasn't enough. The aliens' ability to adapt was too powerful. The strategy he had pinned his hopes on had only bought them a few precious seconds, and now those seconds were running out. Jenna, her face a mask of exhaustion and determination, spoke up. Adam, there's one more thing we haven't tried. It's risky. It's untested, but it might give us an edge. Adam turned toward her. What is it? Space-time manipulation. she said, her voice low. "We've always theorized that certain quantum anomalies could be used to destabilize the very space they're manipulating. If we send a concentrated burst into their command ship's core, something that disrupts their gravity field and their spatial control, it might cause a catastrophic feedback loop. It could force them to reset their systems, maybe even tear their entire fleet apart." Adam's eyes narrowed. "That sounds dangerous, if it backfires. I know, it's all or nothing. But it might be the only shot we have," Jenna said, her fingers already adjusting the algorithms on her console. Adam's heart raced. There was no time to debate. The alien ships were already regrouping, launching a final wave toward Earth's orbit. They had minutes, maybe less, to act. "Do it," Adam said, his voice steady despite the terror in his chest. "If this is our only chance, we take it." Jenna's fingers flew across the controls, and for a brief moment, Adam could only watch as the quantum destabilizer powered up. The risk was astronomical. They were not only targeting the heart of the alien fleet, but also throwing the fabric of space itself into disarray. If it worked, it could unravel the alien control over their ships and give humanity the victory they so desperately needed. If it didn't, Earth could be lost forever. "Ready?" Jenna whispered, her voice a mixture of fear and resolve. The burst of energy was sent through the system, a concentrated pulse aimed directly at the core of the alien command ship. Time seemed to slow as the pulse traveled through space, every human on Earth holding their breath, waiting for the inevitable moment of impact. And then, just as the pulse reached its target, the alien ship, along with the entire fleet, seemed to shimmer. For a split second, it appeared as though reality itself bent and buckled, folding in on itself. Adam could see the ships shifting, the unnatural glow of their shields flickering erratically. Then, in a sudden, cataclysmic explosion of energy, the alien fleet erupted. It wasn't like a conventional explosion. There were no fiery bursts or massive shockwaves. Instead, the entire fleet seemed to collapse in on itself, as if they were being sucked into an implosion of their own technology. The lead ship, the massive one that had been the source of their power, flickered and vanished, disintegrating into a cascade of energy. The remaining ships followed suit, disappearing in rapid succession, leaving nothing behind but the fading ripple of their passing. Adam's mind reeled. For a brief moment, the command center was silent, save for the steady hum of the computers. It felt like a dream. Had it really worked? Then, the voice of General Harding came through the comms, hoarse with disbelief. "Right, did we actually do it?" Adam looked at the screen, watching as Earth's defense systems went offline, the alien fleet vanishing from view. The battle was over. The invaders, those who had once seemed so unstoppable, were gone. "We did it," Adam said, his voice barely above a whisper. Humanity did it. But as the dust settled, Adam couldn't shake the feeling that the war they had just won might not be the last. They had faced a power far beyond their understanding, and while they had survived this battle, something in Adam's gut told him the universe still held far more mysteries and dangers yet to be uncovered. For now, though, humanity had won, and that for today was enough. The aftermath. The world awoke to silence, the kind of silence that only comes after an overwhelming storm has passed. It was as if the very air around Earth had been reset, as though the chaos of the alien invasion had never even happened. The alien fleet that had once loomed over them like a nightmare was gone. The invaders, those who had come from the stars with weapons beyond anything humanity could have imagined, were no more, but the victory was bittersweet. Adam stood by the observation window of the Lunar Research Station, staring out at the vastness of space. The same space that had held the alien menace now seemed calm, almost serene. But that calm felt unnatural. The destruction of the alien fleet had been a victory, yes, but what had it cost? How many lives had been lost in the battle? How many cities had fallen silent? He wasn't the only one wondering. On Earth, celebrations were tempered by the somber reality of the battle they had just fought. While the aliens were gone, the scars of the conflict would remain forever. Adam, Jenna's voice interrupted his thoughts. We've received the final report. The fleet's gone. No traces, no signals. We won. But there's something we're missing. Adam turned toward her, raising an eyebrow. What do you mean? There's a new message, Jenna said, her face pale. She handed Adam a tablet, and he quickly read the words that had just come through the communications network. The message was short, cryptic, and chilling. This was only the beginning. Adam's heart skipped a beat. The aliens had been defeated, but something in that message felt like a warning. The fleet that had attacked Earth, no matter how advanced, wasn't the full story. Whoever they were, whatever they wanted, they were not the only force in the universe. The very fact that they had left behind a message, rather than an all-out final strike, suggested something far greater was at play. We have to figure out what this means, Adam said quietly, as the weight of the message settled in his mind. We may have won the battle, but the war is far from over. Jenna nodded. I'm already looking into it. It's not much, but there's a strange pattern in the communication. It's almost as if it was meant to be decoded, like a warning to whoever is listening. Adam's thoughts raced. The aliens had come in force, and humanity had fought back with everything it had. But that wasn't the end. It couldn't be. The message implied something more. But what? Was there a larger, more powerful enemy waiting in the wings, preparing for the next phase? Were they watching the Earth to see how humanity would respond to the defeat of their fleet? The silence in the room deepened, each scientist lost in their thoughts. The victory they had fought for felt like a hollow one. They had repelled an invasion, but they had no answers. Only questions. Unanswered questions about the alien race, their true intentions, and the message they left behind. The next few days were a blur of recovery efforts and analysis. Earth's governments were united, but the events that had unfolded left everyone shaken. The immediate threat had been neutralized, but Adam knew there was something more to this story, something that wasn't going to disappear just because the enemy had. Adam, Jenna said again, her voice breaking through his deep thoughts. I think I found something. He turned, startled. What is it? The message. It's a code, she said, her voice trembling with the excitement of discovery. I've run it through several decryption algorithms. It's not just a warning. It's coordinates. Coordinates that lead somewhere in deep space. Adam felt a shiver run down his spine. Coordinates. Jenna nodded. Yes, and they point to a location far beyond the nearest star systems. It's on the edge of the galaxy. The enormity of what she was saying hit him like a thunderclap. This wasn't just a threat from one alien species. The fleet that had attacked Earth had left behind a trail, an invitation to something larger, something more terrifying. They weren't the first, nor would they be the last. They want us to come after them, Adam said quietly, realization dawning. They've shown us where to go. This is their way of saying, come find us. Jenna swallowed hard, her face pale. And if we do, what do we even have left to fight them with? Adam stared at the stars, his mind shifting between fear and determination. The message was a call to action. They couldn't just ignore it. They had to know what lay beyond, and they had to be ready. We prepare, he said, his voice steady. We prepare for whatever comes next. But deep down, Adam knew this wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. This was about exploring the unknown, about facing an enemy that could reshape everything they thought they knew. Humanity had survived its first alien encounter, but what was coming next was beyond anything they could have predicted. And so, they began. The journey into the unknown had begun, and there would be no turning back. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for the future of humanity itself. The answers they sought were out there, beyond the stars, and they were going to find them, no matter the cost. As Adam turned back to face his team, one thought echoed in his mind. This was only the beginning.